But moving on to topic number 4, and that's the Celtics. The Celtics are on a red-hot streak. Like I said, the Red Sox are on a hot streak. The Celtics are on a hot streak. The Bruins are playing pretty good. This is a great time to be a fan of Boston sports and New England sports. But, yeah, man, I've been preaching this. Go back. Producer Ben, pull up some old shows for him. Put it up there. I've been preaching, saying, relax. This team is going to get hot after the break. And this is exactly what they did.
Yeah, the Celtics, they went on a 6-game winning streak. Unfortunately, they lost the other night to the Bulls, which, not a great loss for them because the Bulls were actually shorthanded. Zach LaVine didn't play in that game. The Celtics were a little shorthanded, too. They didn't have Robert Williams or Kemba Walker. Fournier still out. So I think the biggest thing with this team is, they winning the 6 of the last 7, it's got them back up in the standings where they can, if they can do another, win 7 out of 10, win 8 out of 12 type of way to finish off the season. And then, you can really get into that top 4, even if it's top 5, you're still sitting better in the playoff contention, in the playoff seeding. So that's really what they needed to do. Now, their schedule wasn't super tough. They did play Denver, and they beat Denver at Denver. They also beat Portland at Portland. So those are 2 Western Conference playoff teams that you did beat out west. They beat the Lakers, who were clearly shorthanded. They beat the Warriors in a great game. They needed overtime to beat the Timberwolves, which I know a lot of people were disappointed in just because the Timberwolves are just not that good this year. They have a lot of good talent, but they're just not a good team. So, it's I don't want to say it's fool's gold or just smoke and mirrors with this team. I think they have found something a little bit. They got to get healthy, and you really want to see this team where Robert Williams is fully healthy, Kemba's back, and then you got Fournier and Peyton Pritchard coming off the bench. Or if you want to start Fournier, you have Marcus Smart coming off the bench, and then you can really figure out, what you can do with a solid 7 to 8 man rotation, coming down the stretch and then into the playoffs, because I don't think they had that before. They also have Jabari Parker now, which I know he's not the number 2 pick that we all thought he was going to be when he came out of Duke. But he's still a guy who can score. He's actually got pretty good size and can rebound a little bit. So, that's another guy off the bench that can score some points for you that the Celtics desperately needed. So we'll see. I mean, there are pieces there now which I think are better than they were before. The problem that the Celtics still have, however, is that they still have a ton of guys who are really young and need to play, but can't really play together on the floor at the same time. That's Peyton Pritchard, Romeo Langford, who's just come back, and Aaron Nesmith. Those are 3 guards, not really small forwards, and can't really play in any of their positions except for guards. You can't really play them all at once. One, because of all their size, and then number 2, they don't have a lot of experience. So when you have multiple guys out on the floor without a lot of experience, it makes it tough, especially defensively in your defensive rotations. So I think that's the thing that they got to kind of figure out right now. Who's going to be the 1 or 2 young guys that we're going to play a lot down the stretch because we need them in the playoffs? Nesmith just hasn't really put it together yet. Pritchard's your backup point guard. I think that's pretty solid that we see that now. And then Langford is some defense on the wing. We hope as Celtics fans that his offense starts to come up to his defense. But we'll see what happens with the Celtics team. Obviously, winning 6 out of 7 was a big boost to them over the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, like you said, it helps them to boost them up in the standings, which we really want to be in that 4 or 5th seed going into the playoffs. You really don't want to have to play into this maybe play-in tournament seed or even have to play the number 1 or 2 seed. You want to have to be really in that 4 or 5 seed where you can play a team that's kind of on the same level as you in the first round and get yourself onto the second round. I still don't think this is a team that can contend for the title, but I think it's a team that can kind of go further than I thought with the addition of Jabari Parker, the team getting healthy again, with Kemba Walker actually showing up. It looks like he's getting healthy again. That knee must be feeling a lot better because the other night, obviously, Jaylen Brown was out with a non-COVID related illness. Tatum dropped 44, but he needs somebody else to be like that little catalyst, and it was Kemba Walker. He had 26 points in that game against the Golden State Warriors that helped us win. So I think if we can get Kemba to do that going down the stretch, you have Peyton Pritchard playing great coming off the bench. Love that kid. What a great pick. and coming out of the draft. And then the addition of Jabari Parker is just solid minutes. We're talking, like you said, a former number 2 pick, a former Dookie, right? So a guy that clearly knows the game. Anybody that plays for Coach Krzyzewski is a player that is going to be mentally there, that is going to know the game. So this guy is going to be playing great. But I think this is one of those things where I told people they needed to relax, calm down. This team would get it together after the All-Star break. That's exactly what they're doing right now. And I know we had a segment earlier because fans were talking about how they wanted Brad Stevens fired. I had said, relax, just wait. This is a great coach. And obviously he's starting to get it together. They're starting to buy into the system a little bit more. But I think the key is really they're getting healthy. They're all healthy. They're all playing together. They're getting into a full rhythm. And you're starting to see that. And then just to have the addition of a guy like Jabari Parker just helps out. But winning 6 of 7 definitely helps. And like we were said earlier, as a coach, it's one of those things where it's not fool's gold. You got to beat the teams that you should beat and the teams that you're going to hang around with, you know, like that have other superstars, maybe like a Bucks. Then you really got to go out and you got to compete to get the win. But a team like Minnesota, obviously, if you let them hang around, or any NBA team, if you let them hang around for 3 quarters, they will be there in the 4th quarter to try to win the game. And I think that's what you saw with Minnesota the other night. But other than that, we've really been on a hot streak, and all the guys are really coming together and playing solid minutes. I'm really looking forward to seeing what this team can do in the first round of the playoffs.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting. I think, you know, before the trade deadline and even before they got picked up Jabari Parker, you were like, you know, we don't know if they even have the horses to even get to the Eastern Conference Finals this year. Which they've gotten to 3 out of the last 4 seasons. So, you know, now that they have Fournier, who, again, is a guy that can score off the bench, or you can start him if you need to. You got Parker. You got a couple of guys that come off the bench and score. You know, there's kind of a smaller team, especially Robert Williams is not a big center. He's only like 6'9", you know, plays bigger than 6'9", but so that's going to be the one thing that they're going to have a tough time with. If they have to play Philly in the playoffs, I think that's going to be a real tough matchup for them. I know they've beaten them in the past, but they don't have Al Horford anymore. They don't have, you know, even Gordon Hayward anymore, who gave you size on the wing. You don't have the same pieces that you were able to use to beat Philly over the last couple of seasons in the playoffs. So that's going to be the big question. I don't know if they can beat them in the postseason without that post player who can really try to at least kind of limit Embiid, because Embiid's been unreal this year. He's probably should be, if he didn't get hurt, he'd definitely be the MVP. It's going to be between him and Jokic. Jokic has been unreal too. So, you know, we talked about big men and how big men are coming back. The 2 top MVP candidates are 2 big men. So you'll see that there. But we'll see what happens with the Celtics. It's obviously great that they won those 6 games in a row. And, you know, it's going to be fun down the stretch. We weren't sure if it was going to be fun at the end of the season. Now we are sure that it should be fun to watch them as the season finishes up over the next month and into the playoffs.